This is Rockslapping Champions. Player 1, playing Swan, we have Ancalagon. And player 2, playing Stukov, we have Mercy. So, before we have a look at the masteries, some of you might recognize Ancalagon from the weekly mutation submissions. Ancalagon's signature play is meme build, so he does a lot of weird kind of builds like Mass Queen Kerrigan and Mass Brute Queen Stukov, which is actually not a bad build, but you will see that you will see very weird builds coming up from Ancalagon. But it just goes to show you can do these builds as long as you know what you are doing. So the other thing is Ancalagon has sent his truck over here. This was not a mistake, it was very intentional. Losing the truck is, I tend to prefer to not lose my truck, but it doesn't really matter. In this case, it's going to be a while before he can be able to take out the construct. But the reason why he did this is because he has gotten vision of this construct over here. And because this construct exists, you now know where the second and the third objective areas are. So this is going to be the third objective area that you'll be pushing into this side. So the second objective area will be over here, and it also means that the first set of attack waves will be coming up this ramp, because the attack waves will come up from the objective area that you have to go to next. So because this is your area that you have to go to, the next area that you have to go to is over here, which means the attack waves are going to be spawning somewhere over here and moving towards this side. So that is the play that was done in the early, so it was not a rock slapping play, it was actually a 200 IQ play. So let's have a look at the masteries over here. We have the concentrated beam mastery, we have the structure health mastery, and then we have the Vespine drone mastery over here with a small split into the drill upgrade. Very standard selection over here. Structure health means he's going for a static defense build, or he will be using units that do not use the immortality protocol for Swan. So he won't be using Thors, he won't be using Shanks and whatnot. Stukov has gone for a split in Volatile Infested and Infest Structure cooldown. He also has a bit of a split into the Alexander cooldown, Apocalypse cooldown, Infantry duration, and the mech attack speed. Again, splits are generally not ideal unless you're trying to optimize for very certain breakpoints. So it's always better to go into a certain mastery set here rather than putting it into a split, because you're not going to get the value out of both of them. So we have an Apocalypse that gets dropped over here to start helping clean up the side. But again, the truck is tucked away at the back of the base here, so this Apocalypse can actually deal with this. And Stukov does not seem to be interested in moving this truck forward. And now there's an attack that is coming up here, but Swan does have a bunch of flaming Bettys that'll be able to deal a little bit of damage. I think one of these Bettys might go down, though there's a lot of Marine DPS, but yeah, this one might actually end up getting taken out. There is a last-minute salvage to try and save that Betty. Unfortunately, not enough time. Another one gets salvaged, and now this one also gets cleaned up. The Swan no longer needs the defenses here, and now Swan is going to be dealing with this next construct on here. But this truck again, a little bit out of position, a little bit late, and now the truck is waiting on this side. I'm not really sure what got sent over there, but Swan is going to try focus firing down this this construct with his laser drill. And now Stukov has decided he wants to start pushing ahead into the next phase of the mission. But unfortunately, this is the third bonus area. It is not the second bonus area, which means that Stukov has actually sent his Scimeter in the wrong direction. And this construct is almost gone with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, 1 minute 20 seconds. That truck is now in position. This truck, on the other hand, is not moving, and this is going to be causing a few problems because the truck countdown is at now 60 seconds left. And there seems to be no movement from Stukov on this part, with another attack wave now that will be coming up towards Swan's base. Swan does actually not have a lot of units over here. He has a bunch of Cyclones that will be moving here, and he'll have to micro those a little bit, or he can use a concentrated beam to just one-shot that side. And now Stukov has finally moved his truck on here, and now this first most objective area is done, but now Stukov has an Alexander as well in this location for no apparent reason other than just for fun. And now he's moved the Scimeter back here. He wants to make sure that these infested die a horrible, painful death like that. Alexander will be moved towards the enemy camp here, which provides very little resistance for such a powerful heroic unit. And now the Alexander is going to time out and drop some infested units. It will also be moving towards this base here. I think they're gonna end up watching Swan's base on this side. Nope, there's a remove on the side emitter, but again, it is going towards the wrong direction. It is being pushed into this area over here, and there's no truck here, so, you know, if Stukov actually moved it towards this construct, he'd be able to actually deal a little bit of damage to this side, which, you know, it's not optimal, but at least he's doing something, right? But Stukov has looked at this side, and he has seen the construct kill it, but still not moved his truck towards that construct. And before anyone says, oh, maybe he doesn't know how to play this map, I think this announcer, whatever his name is, says the word truck enough times on this mission for you to get an idea of how this mission works. So I have gotten sick of the word truck purely from listening to this guy say that word truck every single time. So I do not think that is an excuse. So there we go. So we have an Apocalypse now that is going to be attacking this hybrid. But again, it's taking so much damage from this construct because it is a single unit. If you do have a large number of units, you can kind of get away with ignoring the construct, because the construct's damage gets spread across all the units that are in that vicinity. But because the Apocalypse was pretty much the only thing that was there, that Apocalypse does end up getting cleared up very, very quickly by the construct. So this is one of the other things you can also take to your advantage. If you're playing commanders with very, very spammy units like Zagara or Stukov, you can kind of abuse the fact that the construct has, you know, kind of damage that gets spread out among all your army. You can see here that Swan is doing a mass cyclone build. You can see here, no cyclones have been lost by Swan, which kind of just goes to show you that you can do these weird meme builds as long as you are paying attention. But now there is a harassment wave on this side that was coming up towards the truck. Because the truck was in the base here, the harassment wave gets dropped on this side. You can see the little drop pods over here. And they made their way towards Swan's base, but so far so good. Swan has not lost a single cyclone. Cyclones are really gas heavy, so you need to be able to micro them to get a good amount of value for them. Okay. But they're decent if you can, if you do have that ability to micro. And Stukov on this side is still interested in clearing out this base, but there is still no truck on this side to stop the construct because Stukov's truck is tucked away on here, safe and sound, unable to get damaged by Amon's army. And Swan's truck, on the other hand, is taking a little bit of damage from scratches from these constructs, but he has cleaned up the first construct now, and his army of cyclones will be waiting to push into this side. Stukov is where is he looking at? He's looking at his engineering base soon now. Okay, so he wants to put down an armory here, but truck, this thing is called a truck, guys. In case you did not know what a truck is, that is what a truck is. I know the word truck does not get mentioned nearly enough in this mission, so I'm just going to use the word truck now once in a while. And there we go. So Swan's truck is now moving towards this construct, and it has put a lock on this side, and now there is an attack wave here, but there are a bunch of flaming betties to deal with a little bit of damage. There are 3 infest structures that go down to deal with that one harass wave. A little bit too late because the infest structure is going to run out, and there is a relatively large attack wave that is coming up here. Then there are a bunch of hellbats, but again, these flaming bays on the back will be able to deal a little bit of damage, and will be able to handle this attack wave. This one might be going down, actually. Yep, that one goes down. That one might actually survive, I think. So that one's going to survive. It is on fire, it needs to get salvaged or repaired, but Swan is very busy trying to clear out this side because he's getting a lot of support from his ally. Ally did use an Alexander on this side, but I think from the way it's landed here, I don't think it actually dealt a lot of damage to the units nearby here. So I kind of missed that due to the attack with that spawn. But Stukov has finally moved the Scimeter in the correct position, and waiting for his truck to now get into position. There is 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the timer. Luckily though, this mission now the trucks move a lot faster because they have a buff that is called Floor It, which is what happens when the constructs at the beacons have been cleared, so they move a little bit faster. It gives them a movement speed buff now, which is, I think, one of the better changes that have been made to this mission. It does allow you to put your truck into position after you've cleared, especially if you've lost it. There is an Apocalypse that is coming up over here. Going to try and it's going towards the bonus objective, but again, it's going towards the wrong bonus objective. Bonus objective is over here. And the basic order is it is always on the northern side for the second objective, and it is on the southern side for the third objective. So this is the first objective. Second objective was over here, so your bonus will spawn on the top, and then the third objective is over here, so your bonus will spawn on the south. So vice versa, if this is the second area, then you will have to do that bonus objective, and if this is the third area, you'll have to do that bonus objective there. So that is basically how the bonus objectives work on this mission. There is a large number of cyclones, or there are a large number of cyclones on this site. And again, with the help of Swanstruck, he is able to clear. These infested now are actually starting to do damage because Swanstruck is in position, and that is allowing the construct damage to get soaked up. But now there is another problem that's coming up towards the player's base. There is an attack wave that is coming up here, and we have one infest structure that is being used for Stukov, and the second infest structure is being used for Stukov. That should end up clearing out both these things. Now, unfortunately, there's also an army of Marines here and a siege tank that's shelling the supply depot from the low ground. We have a combat drop that gets dropped onto the side, and that attack wave gets cleaned up. And now there is a harass wave that has spawned to try and attack Swanstruck. Unfortunately, because Stukov's truck is in the base here, the harass wave for his truck came up on here. So the harass waves do spawn. Two harass waves spawn per spawn cycle, one for each truck. So if your truck is in your base, the thing will spawn on the nearest ramp, which is usually on the side, on either this side or on this side, depending on the player's truck. So again, some more constructs are getting cleaned up by Swan Cyclone. Swan has lost a whopping 1 Cyclone in this entire mission, which is absolutely insane. It just goes to show you like how much value you can get out of these Cyclones if you actually micro them correctly. It requires a lot of micro to move back and forth to make sure they don't take a lot of damage. We also have a bunch of science vessels that are keeping these Cyclones alive now, and there's a small harass wave here. I don't know whether that came up. But now there is a focus fire down onto that construct. That construct gets cleaned up. There is one last construct to be cleared. And Stukov's truck is nowhere in sight. There are a lot of bunkers, and there's a huge unload on the bunkers to provide a large wave of infested. See a little bit of micro back from Swan Cyclone, just to reduce the amount of damage they end up taking from that construct. But there we go. That truck has focused down that construct now. And there we go. And the truck is now in position, and Stukov now moves his truck because it is safe. Is he getting wedged between the bunkers? Nope, nope. It hasn't been wedged between the bunkers. And now there's another attack wave that is coming up here. And yeah, there's nothing here, so this is not really particularly interesting. Let's have a look at what happens with this attack wave. There are 8 flaming vays right now in position here. We are dealing with a classic bio composition, which is okay, so to speak. But Stukov's army is ready and in position, and the Alexander has come down to deal with the last part of the attack wave, which consists of 1 siege tank. And he's gonna move this. Okay, so he's gonna move the Alexander a little bit forward, which is good. I personally prefer to push in from this side. I think it's a little bit easier than pushing in from the front, but again, both sides are fine. Swan's truck is... Where is Swan's truck going? I know Stukov's truck is not going anywhere, but it's curious to know where Swan's truck is going. So Stukov has put his Scimeter on this side because he wants to try and deal with his bonus objective, which is okay. He has the Alexander on the side. Again, he's pushing towards this base, but this base is not necessary. He also pushed into this side. The objective area is on the here. So he should be moving the Alexander on here rather than into this middle base here. Now this middle base is only useful if you want to spawn camp attack waves, and most of the time it's just not worth it. So now we have Stukov's infested that have made its way towards this bonus objective. But again, with no truck in sight, they're not going to be able to get through the through this bonus objective, through the construct. And Swan is completely uninterested because the timer is going to be very, very low by the end of this mission because he's getting no assistance from his ally. So he's decided to go ahead and push for the main objective here, which is a good call. Artifact truck does get focused down, but he manages to put down a pulse cannon. Does end up dealing a lot of damage to these units over here. You see Stukov's units are just getting completely wiped by the large number of battle cruisers and eventually the construct. Swan is just regenerating his army right now, just making sure he has enough health on his army. You see all these infested units are you know, these are coming from the colonist compound. This battlecruiser will end up going down at some point, but now there is a double attack wave that's coming up. There's Phoenix that managed to survive, but they'll get ended up getting up by a bunch of cyclones here. But now these infested actually cannot do anything against this construct because the truck is nowhere in position to lock out this construct. And yeah, this bonus objective is probably going to time out very soon given the mission time. And there is now another attack wave that's coming up. There is a little bit of shelling on this side as well, but I think for the most part this will, yeah, so that bunker ends up going down as well. So now this construct again just laughing at the infested because they cannot do anything to this construct. And there goes that bonus objective there. The bonus objective has been timed out. There is a small harass wave that has spawned again for Stukov's truck, but there is an infest structure that comes down to start dealing with this side. And now Stukov has actually managed to finally clean up that siege tank. And there are a lot of cyclones over here that are dealing a lot of damage. So Swan has lost a total of 8 cyclones in the course of this entire mission, which is absolutely insane. Like, that is almost no losses there on Swan's part. And now he's gotten the lock-on on his artifact truck onto this construct. There's a double attack wave that is coming up here. Swan's going to end up taking a little bit of damage from this because this thing landed pretty much on top of his army. But now there's another harass wave on here. But Swan's turrets are providing a little bit of defense. And that turret does end up going down. But there's an infest structure that comes up over here to save that one turret that is completely out of range of the attack wave. And now that construct has also been cleaned up. And Swan's army is going to start pushing in, finally with the assistance of Stukov's infest. Stukov has finally moved the Scimeter back here to start helping Swan. There are a bunch of siege tanks on this side. And yeah, Stukov has spawned a total of 1,465 units in this game. And just to give you an idea of how many infested units Stukov can spawn very, very quickly. So there are a bunch of constructs over here. Again, Stukov's truck is not in position, so Swan's truck has to go and do all the work. But as you can see, the amount of damage that they are taking from the constructs is very, very minimal now because there are a large number of units nearby. So the damage gets split up equally among all the units and keeps all those units alive without, without too many problems. There is a ping onto this artifact truck to tell Stukov, hey, you should move your truck here so we can finish this mission. And now Stukov's truck is going to be making its way towards this final beacon as Swan waits. And yeah, we'll have a look. Yeah, a total of 12 cyclones were lost in this mission. 2 apocalypses have gone down, and a total of 642 of the actually more than 800 infested were lost there. And that might be a total spawn. So let's see what happens there. There's a move on the Scimeter. That doesn't really matter because the truck is now in position, and that is Mobius's plans completely thwarted. And that is a GG from Swan. I hope that was a sarcastic GG, but that's the end of the game, and that is GG.